And I didn't mention what cheeses we have here, but we have an Edelweiss from Idle Farms in Michigan, which is a goat and cow milk mold ripened cheese. It'll be soft and creamy in the center. Then we've got a Hook's 5-year cheddar and a 6-month aged Manchego. And then I like to use some salami. Salami is always a great choice. So this is a this is a Toscano salami. This is a Toscano salami. And what I do with Toscano salami, there's a lot of different options. One of my favorite things to do with it though is fold it in half loosely. I don't crease it, and I lay that down. And then I take another slice and fold it in half and lay that down on top of it. And I'm overlapping a little bit, maybe about a half of it or maybe a third of it is covered by the other one. And I'll kind of hold this in place and I'll fold this one over. And then I'll fold this one over. And what I end up with, as you tweak it a little bit, is this kind of like little ribbon shape. And you can make a bunch of these by folding over another slice, laying them on top of each other. Fold the salami that's underneath, I'll fold over top, and then I'll fold over top the other one. Fold another slice, fold another slice, fold that one over, and fold that one over. And I kind of just like stack these up a little bit as I'm going to kind of hold them together a little bit. Fold that over, fold this one over, fold this over, fold this one over. I've got a nice little stack there. Fold another slice and just keep going with it. And then once you have a nice stack of them, you can kind of wrap them around wherever you'd like. So one thing that I like to do sometimes is loop them around a round cheese like this. Or you can use them to line the edge of your platter so your olives don't roll off the plate. And you can do some other things with it as well too. So another thing you might have seen is how to make a little flour, which there's a couple different ways to do this. What I would like to do is something along these lines. So I lay them all out, just slightly overlapping each other. Get a nice line of them, and then I kind of fold them over on themselves. Actually, we're going to grab one more slice first. So what we're going to do here is kind of fold this one over, and this is going to be basically for the center of the flour, kind of the part of the bud that's not kind of opened up already. You can kind of fold a slice in half, and then fold this down, and fold this down. Basically what you're doing is folding into thirds. Or you can also just think of it as kind of rolling it into like a cone shape. That we're going to use to kind of be the center of my flour that everything is going to work its way out from. And then you can fold this over. I usually use a piece of parchment paper or tissue paper to put underneath the salami. I didn't think to do it in this case. And then what you can do is you can just fold that paper over on top of itself, and it'll roll, you know, it'll fold them over for you. That's a little bit easier. It keeps everything in line for you. So I fold them over like that. And then I take my little cone shape that I just made and I put it in the center there, kind of upside down, I guess, with the point of the cone facing up along the non-folded edges. And I use that to rotate, or to wrap the salami and roll it around. And you try to do it loose, not too tight. And then you can always fix it after you've rolled it up. And if I squeeze the bottom of it, the folded portion up together, it'll push the inside upward. And then you'll just want to, sometimes people will use toothpicks to hold the bottom together, but then you can just pull some of these outer layers downward and loosen it up a little bit, and you'll get a nice looking flower. And then you can put that wherever you'd like on your platter. And then I also like to use a muscle meat. So this would be speck alto dige, which is a smoked prosciutto basically. It's a smoked cured ham. And there's a few ways you can work with this. One of the easiest and probably most practical ways you can use this is just to loosely drape it onto your plate. This is nice again because it doesn't take too much work, it doesn't take too much dexterity, and it's something you can do quickly, and it's easy for your guests to just grab one portion. So what you're going to do, kind of hold it loosely and drape the bottom of your speck down onto the plate. Let's see if you can kind of see this at a different angle. What we want to do is kind of drape onto the plate and then pull it back towards you, and then drape again back in the other direction, and then lay it down like that. So that's what we're going to kind of try to do on the plate. So let's see if we can get a good angle on that. So we're going to go away from us on the plate, back towards us, away from us, and back towards us. And then I try to rest the last piece on top of the charcuterie board there. And then I just do another piece right on top of it. So I'll start right here. So I'm basically just letting this part lay down, and I'll pull back towards me just a little bit, and then back towards the meat, and then back towards me. And you can keep doing this. And I'll set this down on top again, away from me, back towards me, away from me, and back towards me. And what you'll get is this nice little ribbon around the outside that you can kind of see. See if we can get a close-up on that. My sopressata is folded just a little too tight. I rolled it a little too tight. So like I said, what you'll do a lot of times is use some toothpicks or a little bit of time to kind of separate these out slowly, and you can kind of pull the petals down and it'll look more and more like a flower as you do that. And you can always use a piece of cheese or something to hold everything in place. Try to do a separate video of that portion that we can come back to. And then another thing I like to do with the speck is actually wrap it to look like a flower. So what I do is I hold the end of it loosely. I kind of use my my dominant hand. I'm going to use my right hand, and I hold the end and the portion that's closer to the fat, this fat along here, because it kind of serves as an adhesive almost and holds the speck together as I'm rolling it. So what I do is I hold that loosely, and I take my other hand and I kind of tuck it in like this with my right hand, and I pinch the bottom a little bit, and then this one tucks it in as I'm kind of rolling it with my right hand, and I just loosely try to roll the top of it while I'm tucking in the bottom a little bit and trying to hold the bottom tight. And I just keep rolling it around like that. And then what you get is a little flower, a blossom of some sort. And then you can set these on your platter. Again, just like you would the sopressata or something, you can kind of border your plate a little bit. Do that again. I'll hold this end right here and kind of tuck it in loosely. Pinch the bottom of it a little bit, and I'm going to keep rotating with my right hand while I'm kind of pushing it in with my left hand. And so I'm actually doing the rolling more with this hand that's actually holding it, and letting it pull in a little bit as I go with my left hand, and kind of guiding it with my left hand. So I get that kind of flower shape. And then again, you can set it right here on the edge. You can wrap them around your goat cheese down here, or goat and cow, I guess, but your brie or whatever you want to have down there. Soft spreadable goat cheese, and then I'm just going to continue to do that. So I'll wrap it around, pinching my bottom. Each one's going to be a little different. If you see right there, what I did kind of like the speck kind of folded over on itself and rolled away, and so I'm getting the bottom edge on the top, and what I'll do is I'll just kind of go with that and let it go, because you'll get more contrasting colors as you that's why we always try to keep them loose as we roll, because you'll get more nice happy ribbons and textures in there as well. I'll put some over here maybe. We'll do just a couple more of those. They're a little harder when your cut is thin. See how the height of my slice is not super thick? If it was just a little bit thicker, it's actually a little bit easier to get this nice shape to it. We'll do one more just to kind of round out our plate. Again, rolling with my right hand. Scooch my manchego over just a smidge. That's the nice thing about a charcuterie plate too, is as you get faster at doing this too, you can kind of keep tweaking your location on things until you get the way you want it to look. And then I always like to add some color at this point with some fresh produce, with some nuts, some olives, a nice trick with like a kiwi or something along those lines is you can I'll usually begin by cutting the ends off, and I actually leave the skin on my kiwi. You can remove it if you'd like, but this gets a little bit messier, and I like the contrast color. So this is a golden kiwi. I'll usually use like a golden kiwi for something that maybe more people will like. It's a little sweeter and a little bit milder. And then I use a green kiwi quite frequently for a pop of color, an intense pop of color. And then once I have that, what I'll do is I'll take my paring knife or utility knife, shorter utility knife, and I'll poke right into the center of it on kind of an angle. I don't want to go straight vertical in line with the kiwi or horizontal. I want to make a bunch of zigzags, V or W or whatever you want to call this, repeatedly over and over again. And you're trying to go about halfway into the kiwi. Kind of see what I'm doing here. And we just kind of keep with this zigzag shape into the center of the kiwi. And the nice thing about this is you could do this with pretty much any spherical fruit or vegetable. You can do it on a much larger scale, obviously, with a melon. You can even cut a melon in half, doing something like this, and then scoop out some of the flesh or some of the fruit in the center, and then put it back in it as a bowl. And then, as you can kind of see that zigzag in there a little bit, as I pull it apart, then you get this. I should have pulled more directly apart as opposed to folding. I'm just trying to show you guys, but if you fold it like that, you're gonna tear the fruit a little bit, but if you pull straight, the skin will snap and you'll end up with a nice pop of color, nice little decorative shape there as well. You can throw a few of those on your platter there. It's a really nice start to your platter. And then I like to just finish it off with some olives, Marcona almonds, some candy nuts, maybe a jar of honey or a jar of preserves. And you've got everything you need to get started.